Hey, Shalom Israel. I'm still trying to get a couple of technical things taken care of. Let me put something out in the chat real quick if y'all will be patient with me. And then we're going to get right into this class. We're going to talk about child support some more today. Um, it's a hot topic. Our people are caught up into that situation, and we need to talk about what's right, what's wrong, and how to navigate through it. Let me get this link real quick. Can I get it? Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. Not gonna worry about it. All right, so I want to remind y'all about Tabernacles. If you plan on coming to Tabernacles with us, go to our email, and the cost is $40 per adult. Children are free, and you can cash out that to us. And real quick, you can just go out to. Sorry, I'm talking to my wife. You can find it on YouTube. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right, so yeah, $40 per adult. Children are free, and we're going to provide porta potties. We're going to provide chicken for dinner, hamburgers and hot dogs. We're going to be bringing different sides, and may even provide some more meats. And we're asking that y'all bring different stuff. We're going to eat breakfast together. Oh yeah, we're providing eggs for breakfast. I don't We may be providing the whole breakfast. I got to check into that. But definitely, we're going to provide the eggs and we will go from there. That being said, let's go ahead and get into this lesson. And what I want to start with, where does it say? Share my screen. All right, well, I want to go back to the definition of child support. We kind of talked about that last week. Uh, and it says court ordered payments typically made by a non custodial divorced parent to support one's minor child or children. It says typically made by a non custodial divorced parent. I don't really believe that because you have some people who were never married and they're getting child support. Nevertheless, that's the definition that Google is providing for us, okay? But it says court order, and that's what I wanted to get over to you. And I have lost my StreamYard connection. Let me get back on. Am I in StreamYard? Hey, can y'all see me? Let me check something. Let me check. Okay, I'm out here twice. Let's see if I can close this up. All right, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. You can see. Okay, I can't get in to control it. All right, are y'all getting the feedback? Uh, all right, let's do it. Boy, that looks great. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. Okay, so child support is court ordered, and but our discussion has to deal only with the court ordered aspect. Now, a lot of times when you bring up child support, people want to say, well, what about his responsibility to take care of the child? That has nothing to do with child support in the sense of what we're talking about. What we are talking about, I want to reiterate, is once the courts get involved. Biblically, is there a such thing as child support? So last week we looked at Abraham. We looked at what happened with Ishmael. Abraham sent Ishmael and Hagar off. They wandered in the wilderness. They ran out of water. Now, if child support was right, why did the Lord tell Abraham to send Ishmael away? Shouldn't he have said, "You know you have to take care of that child"? Now, I'm not telling you that you're not supposed to take care of your children. We What I'm saying is now we have a breakup, and this woman is taking the child with her. In this case, Abraham sent the woman away because the woman, had problems with his wife, and then the child started behaving in like manner. He got that from his mother. So Abraham had to split the home to save his lineage, okay? Now, in doing that, what is Abraham's responsibility? He had none. Now, let me give you some reference on that. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 21, verse 10. Let me get there real quick. So this is what it says. Well, let's start in verse 9. Now, this situation of a Israelite woman who was sold into slavery by her father. This father gives this girl to his son. So now she's no longer a slave, she's a wife, okay? So I didn't want to get past the point that it was talking about slaves, but she's no longer a slave. So this is an Israelite woman. It says in verse 9, and if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. So the father, who was her master, now treats her like a daughter, okay? Because he has betrothed her to his son. Verse 10, if he take him another wife, now we're talking about the son. So he has her as a wife. Now he takes a second wife. If he take if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. So he has to take care of her in the same manner he was doing before he took this other woman. He can't diminish her food. He can't diminish her clothing. And he still has to be able to do what he was doing before with her. Verse 11. Now we're going to talk about if he doesn't do that. What are her rights? And if he do not these three unto her food, clothing, and intimacy. If he can't keep these three up in the same manner he did before, then shall she go out free without money. So if he can't provide for her in the way he did before, she's free to leave, but she doesn't take money with her. I don't see child support in that. And that's what we have to understand. Now let's back up a little bit in this. Let's go to Exodus 21 and 1, same chapter. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the seventh year he shall go out free for nothing. Okay? Verse 3, if he came in by himself at the time he was that you took him as a slave, he didn't come in with a wife, he didn't come in with children, it's just him, okay? If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife should go out with him. So if him and his wife came in together, his wife leaves with him. Once he fulfills his 7 years, she leaves with him. Verse 4, if his master had given him a wife, so the master has a possession, this female, and while he's there serving this master, he takes this woman as his wife, and she have borne him sons and daughters, and they have children together. The wife and her children shall be her masters, and he shall go out by himself. So he's fulfilled his 7 years. Within that 7 years, his master gave him a wife. Him and the wife enjoyed each other's company. They had children. He's ready to go free. He doesn't take that wife with him, and he doesn't take the children with him. But I don't see an order for child support. Neither do I see that it's the responsibility. See, because this is what it says. Let's read it again. If his master had given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master. It didn't matter that he bore them. Those children belong to the master. This is straight from God. And see, we want to say that we have the right to force this man to do something, and that's not the case. Now, we live in a very litigious society. Esau's rules reign here. Okay, he's the Lord of this world. He instituted child support, so you better believe you're gonna pay it. Let me see something. I want to share my screen, so this is what I'm going to do. Uh, let's do this. Let's go to the Alabama Child Support Guide. I want to show y'all something. So they have a whole guide to show custodial parents how to get child support. And I've highlighted some stuff. I have a copy of here that I want to go through on here with y'all. So this child support, a guide to services in Alabama. All right. So I want to first get into some definitions. So we're gonna go down, go down. Okay, right here, child support. Now I read you the definition that I found. Now I'm gonna show you their definition. Money paid by a parent to help meet the needs of a child. Now notice they leave out the part about being court ordered. See, they want to act like this is something that's just automatic. Everybody should be willing to do. No, this is court order. This is enforced right here. Enforced a term for measures to make sure a child support order is obeyed. Okay. Let's look at. Let me look up the definition of enforcement real quick. Let's see if that's what it's agreed to generally. And of course, my stuff come up. Okay, here we go. Enforcement. The act of compelling observance of or compliance with a law, rule, or obligation. Okay, so now we're talking about a law or rule. Okay, so let's go down further. Let's look at non-custodial parent. It says, "The parent with whom the child does not live and who may have an obligation to pay child support." Now, I'm pointing this out because when I get in further, Imma show you where they flip from that. So now we're going to go down. We have child support services. Okay, let's go to establishing fraternity. Right. So here we go. Right here in this second paragraph, it says, "In many cases, the alleged father admits paternity by signing an acknowledgement." So they're saying that if you sign a document, you are now legally the father. This paper can be signed at the hospital or at a Department of Human Resources office. If he does not admit paternity, the state must begin a court action. So you have a choice here. You can say, "That's my child," or you can say, "I'm not sure." And if you say, "I'm not sure," they don't necessarily just let you go. They try and convince you to sign. So here's what happens. Let's go down to the next paragraph. It says, "Child support staff collects information and other evidence about the alleged father and refers the case to the state or the attorney." That's what I want to point out to you. Men, when you are dealing with the nurses, the doctor, um, if child support is knocking at your door, you're actually dealing with attorneys because when it boils down to it, the attorneys are going to guide this whole process. So guess what you need? You need an attorney. You can get a free consultation. This is what you need to do. You need to go out and you need to Google family law attorney. You need to research and find out who people are saying are the best. You don't want to go into court with just anyone. Attorneys have relationships, and the attorneys that are the best, they will have relationships with the people downtown, and so they will have a lot of bearing in how your case is considered. So if you go in with an attorney and everyone says this is a top-notch attorney, and he goes in and he says, "Look, this guy's not a deadbeat." They're having these conversations behind closed doors. This guy wants to do what's right. Then they're going to be more lenient with you. The judge has a lot of leeway in this stuff. Let's say you're working 2 jobs. The judge has the leeway whether to base child support on your first job or both jobs. It depends on how you're feeling, and you don't wanna go into this thing without an attorney. So let's go back to this. Child support staff collects information and other evidence about the alleged father and refers the case to state for the attorney for legal action. This legal assistant, now this is what I want you to get. This is why I showed you non-custodial parent. That's a total lie. That's not who they're trying to support. This legal assistant should benefit the mother. Notice it did not say non-custodial parent. This legal assistant should benefit the mother and child. So when you go in there dealing with child support, there's no one that's on your side. You are now fighting the state of Alabama and the federal system. It goes on to say, but remember that in all cases, before the attorney represents the state, child support agency, and not the parent. And the reason they add that is because not in all cases is the woman really after child support. She may have gone down to get some assistance, but to get that assistance, he has to turn you in. So in that case, they're saying we're going to turn against her if we have to. Okay. Now I want to show you something. No, let's not do that yet. Let's not do that. Let's go to Judges 18 and 5. Let's go to Judges 18 and 5. I hope this is sinking in. What I'm saying is, and I started saying this last week, child support is not biblical, but that does not excuse you from not taking care of your children. That's 2 separate things. Child support will be paid in America, and so I'm gonna help you out on that a little bit, what you should do. What I say, Judges 18 to 5? Verse 5, "And they said unto him, Ask counsel, we pray thee, of God." So who do you ask counsel of? Where's the first place you go? You drop your knees and you pray to God for wisdom in this situation. James says, "If any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not." Upbraideth means he does not get upset. So when you're going through a situation, you get on your knees, you ask the Lord, or you lay prostrate before the Lord, and you ask him, you say, "Lord, I don't know what to do. What do I do in this situation?" Your answer may come in a dream. Your answer may come in a lesson you see on YouTube. It may come from a brother at camp speaking, but the answer will come. Okay? Now you got to act on that. Let's finish that verse. And they said unto him, Ask counsel. We pray thee of God, that we may know whether our way which we go shall be prosperous. You got to know that God's going to help you. All right? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. Verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall. So if you're going by this thing on your own, not trying to get counsel, counsel can be legal counsel. You need legal counsel. You also need spiritual counsel. Okay? Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counsel, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Okay? So you're going to get that spiritual counsel. You're also going to go get this carnal counsel from an attorney. Okay? So let's look at this real quick. I want you to go to what is that verse? What is that verse? Do we want to do that yet? No, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's keep going down in this document. No, we're gonna go ahead. Let's go to Matthew 5 and 28. That's still talking about counsel. So let's go ahead there. Now this is Christ talk, and you have to take heed. Verse 28. It's Book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 28. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman, no, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Let me see. Hold on. Let me find it real quick. Uh, we'll get that in just a second. Let's go now to the income. Let's go into enforcing support. So let's go down. So it's talking about child support order, medical support. And now we're going to go into enforcing support. So let's go to civil contempt right here. It says if a parent does not obey a court order, he or she may be found in contempt of the order. All right, that's self-explanatory, right? Child support enforcement can ask a judge to find a parent in contempt if he or she is 30 days late in support payment or does not comply with the medical support order. So this is the case of someone being ordered to pay support and they don't pay within 30 days. So think about this. Let's say you have a mortgage on your house and they say your payment is due April 1st. May 1st rolls around, you haven't paid. They don't do anything. They give you a grace period. Child support gives you no grace period. They say if you don't have that money within 30 days, we're going to take action against you. All right. It says the parent must receive the court papers in accordance with state law in order to be properly served. If the parent is found in contempt, it means he or she did not obey the court order on purpose. The parent could be sent to jail. All right, now I want to show you something on that. Uh, do I here right here? Let's look at the Constitution of the United States. So one thing that was established that is that in the United States, there's no such thing as debtor's court. Child support is a debt, and they will put your butt in jail for it. But let's see what the Constitution is. Let's see if they even obey their own laws. Did I say debtor's court? I'm sorry, there's no such thing as debtor's prison. There is a debtor's court. Debtors' prisons were banned under federal law. We're reading right here. Debtors' prisons were banned under federal law in 1833 in the United States. Imprisoning someone because they cannot afford to pay court-imposed fines or fees violates the 14th Amendment promises of due process and equal protection under the law. The Supreme Court affirmed that incarcerating indigenous indigent debtors was unconstitutional under the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause in 1983. So in 1983, a ruling was made on that 1833 law, and the Supreme Court upheld the law and said, no, you can't put someone in prison for owing, for being in debt. Then it goes on to say, over here, the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution abolishes debtor's prison, also known as involuntary servitude in all U.S. jurisdictions. You get that? But the states have come in. They said we're going to ignore the Constitution and we're going to do whatever we want to do. So we've already established that child support, we can't find any biblical reference to it. We've also established that if a woman leaves, she leaves with no money. We went to our father Abraham, who went through a situation where his home was split. His wife told him to get rid of the handmaid and his oldest son. And he didn't seem to think that he had any obligation any further. Okay? Now we've gone to the US Constitution in this land where we are oppressed, and they made laws protecting themselves from this type of oppression. But the numbers are dramatic for that oppression being passed on to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So we're going to go down further. Let me see. Let me see. Go back to. Here we go. All right, we're going to go down to collecting, distributing, and allocating support. Well, let's stop right here. Let's go to the interest. Let's go to enforcing support. I want to show you something down here. Interest. Did y'all know y'all pay interest on your child support? See, a lot of people think all this money goes to this woman. It doesn't. This is where judges get their retirement and stuff. Child support is big business. The retirement fund is made up of court fees, and you're paying them. So right here, I highlighted interest. It says child support judgments entered prior to November 13th, 1981 accrue interest at the rate of 6%. Okay? You see that 6%? I don't want to read this whole thing. Now look, You get November 13th, 1981, and August 31, 2011. Now you're looking at 12%. After September 1st, 2011, 7.5%. You see where they're making this money off of? You gotta stay out of this situation. Men, I'm going to kinda deviate just for a second. Let me see if I can find it. You don't wanna just lay down. You wanna get married. But even if you get married, you gotta be aware that, that doesn't totally protect you. So, I'm gonna show you some statistics right here. Uh, Let me see. We're gonna start right here. It says these we're talking about, paternity. It says, "These recent studies provide valuable insights into non-paternity prevalence and its correlation with demographic variables, adding nuance to the understanding of contemporary paternity dynamics." So this article is going into paternity, and it's going into, fathers being blamed when they're not actually the father, okay? Now, there are various studies, and they will tell you that when a woman takes a man to court and accuses him of paternity, they say anywhere from 1% to 30% he's not the father. Now, that's crazy. 1% to 30%? How do you come up with a range like that? But that's in the cases where fathers are actually challenging when they've been taken to court. Now, I'm gonna show you a different thing. So, we're gonna go right here. It says, while these studies provide valuable insights, it's crucial to acknowledge the absence of comprehensive official data. Estimates suggest a wide-ranging prevalence of paternity fraud. This is UK, from 1% to 30%. Talk about paternity fraud. This is where a man has been accused and then is proven he's not the father. With a 2018 study of, from the University of Warwick estimating 3%, and a 2021 study from the University of Oxford suggesting 1%. So this is the cases where they go to court. Okay. Now watch this. This is where they took a random sample when they got 5,000 DNA estimates out of a lab, and they just ran it randomly. I'm going to show you what the results are and why this other stuff is so bogus. DNA Clinics, a subsidiary of BioClinics Group in Salford, analyzed 5,000 results randomly selected from January 2014 to June 2016, revealing a striking outcome. 48% of UK men tested were not the biological father. You're talking about half of them. Now, this includes married men. This is not people being taken to court. This just you going along thinking you're taking care of your family, doing the right thing, and half of the children are not good. Now, I didn't look it up, but I had seen before where a DNA company in Jamaica released their result. They said over 70% they did a similar thing, were not the father. But for some reason, when you go through the courts and get tested, the numbers are lower. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not gonna accuse anybody of falsifying anything, but what Imma say is you may want to get more than one test done. Don't rely just on what the state does. Um, if you know someone and they've done it on their own, and the lab comes back and says they were not the father, use that lab and get pay for your own test. At the same time, let the state do what they're gonna do and see if they match up, okay? The other thing is, if you sign that birth certificate at the hospital, you are not legally the father. In many states, you can be proven not to be a father later, and you still will be obligated to pay for that child. So, I'm saying this, and you may feel like, um, what he's doing is telling the guys not to trust women. Yeah, I'm telling the guys not to trust women because we have a way of testing to make sure. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to give you an example in the Bible. Let's go to Numbers chapter 5. You don't have to put your trust in someone else. You're talking about fallible people. So if your wife goes out there and has an affair, do you really think she's gonna come back and tell you? Let's go to Numbers chapter 5, and let's start off in verse 29. Let's read 29 through 31. Numbers 5 and 29. So you may remember last week we kept the subject of jealousy kept coming up, and it was the Lord saying, "I am a jealous God." Now there's different types of jealousy. You can get jealous over someone having something, and then you get into covetousness and you want what they have. Now I'm gonna show you jealousy of a man who feels like his wife has cheated and what the Bible has to say about it. Verse 29. This is the law of jealousy. Now, you had to go back up to verse 11 and read down, and you will understand the law of jealousy. Let's go back to 29. This is the law of jealousy. When a wife goeth aside to another instead of her husband and is defiled. When you step out, ladies, and sleep with someone who's not your husband, you're defiled. You're unclean. Okay? Verse 30. Or when the spirit of jealousy cometh upon him, and he be jealous over his wife, and shall set the woman before the Lord, and the priest shall execute upon her all this law. Now, if you go back up to verse 11, you will see what process is used to set her before the Lord. You're actually taking her to the priest, and he has something that he has her to drink. And if she drinks, first she's gonna say that she didn't cheat. She's gonna make this proclamation before the priest and the Lord. She drinks the mixture, and if she did cheat, there are changes that happen in her body. Okay? Verse 31. So she said she didn't cheat. She had to take the drink, and let's see, is the man guilty because he was jealous? Is that a sin for him? Let's look at verse 31. Then shall the man be guiltless from iniquity. So whether she cheated or he's just feeling jealous, thinking she cheated, he went through the process, he's free of sin. Okay? And this woman shall bear her iniquity or sin. So in the case where she did cheat, she's gonna bear that. Okay? And I'm kind of correlating this today to DNA tests in the sense of you don't want to take care of somebody else's child unless you married someone who had a child. Now you know those aren't your children, but you're declaring, I'm going to take care of them just like they are. That's a totally different situation. You went in with eyes wide open. The other case is where you have a woman who has defiled herself, and then she just keeps in that sin by perpetuating the lie and telling you this is your child. It's wicked. Okay? And so I was showing you a scenario in the UK where they went in looking at this, 48% of the time, women are blaming children on their husbands when they are not. So how many women are cheating? Which percent? If half the children being born are not don't belong to the husband, then help me out with this. Why would you not want to have a child? I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying women, if they do, don't play this game about you ought to trust me. Statistics say we should not trust. All right. So let's talk about child support some more. Let's go to Deuteronomy 24 and 6. Before we go there, you know what? I want to get another point out before we go there. Let's go down to what section were we in? Enforcing support. Um, let's look at this federal income tax intercept right here. It says the law requires the state to distribute child support collection made through federal income tax intercept in a former assistance case as follows. First, this is what happens when the money when it's collected via income tax return. The state keeps all collections. I'm gonna read that again. First, the state keeps all collections up to the amount of arrears and interest owed. The state, I'm sorry, and interest owed the state for the assistance you receive. So they go back and they calculate how much interest would have been paid for that time period, and they go and they pass that on to the non-custodial parent. Do you see that? I mean, people will be saying, "He ain't paying but this much, you gotta be out of your mind. Pay it out of your house and see if it affects you." Let me see this. Something else I wanna get to while we talk about what they get. Let's go ahead to fees and stuff. So we already have interest. Now let's look at fees for service. Okay, there's an application fee. So when you go down to file, it says depending on your income, $5 or $25 is charged when you apply for child support services. If you are now receiving FA, Medicaid, or foster care assistance, you do not have to pay the fee to continue child support services after your assistance stops. Okay? Now let's get down. This is where I want to go. Annual collection. A fee of $35 is charged annually in cases in which at least $550 has been collected and dispersed unless you have previously received FA. So $35 every year. Income tax refund offset fee. Now you remember I just showed you that they're gonna go back and calculate interest and your debt money, and then it says we charge a $10 fee for intercepting state or federal income tax refund. Now watch this. The custodial parent, which is usually the mother, you do not have to pay it yourself. It will be deducted from any amounts we collect for you through this process. All right? So that's another fee he has to pay. Administrative offset fee. We charge a $10 fee each time a federal payment is offset for the purpose of child support. Here it goes again. Watch this language. You do not have to pay it yourself. It will be deducted from the amount received. Federal payments eligible for offset could include retirement payments. I mean, they're gonna go after your retirement. There was a time retirement was considered untouchable. You could not touch a person's retirement. You could sue a person, and, if all they're getting is retirement, you couldn't touch it. But in child support, it's different. Vendor payment, expense reimbursements, or travel payments. So if you have a job and you travel, and let's say they give you 30, let's say they give you $50 per day per diem. That's supposed to be to take care of your food and stuff like that. They can hit your company up and say, "No, no, 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 hold on. You need to send us $10." And that's each time it says. You see that? They don't care if you eat or drink, what. I mean, it's crazy. There's something else I want to show. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I must skip by it. Where is it? Where is it? There was a portion that talked about, oh, there it goes. There it goes. Let me back up to enforcement and support. Went right past it. So I hope y'all are getting this. Trying to show you why we have to stay out of child support in the sense of how they're doing it. Now we're gonna use this system. Ladies, I'm telling them not to pay support. We're in the Esau system, and we're going to have to go through these courts, but I'm gonna try and show you a better way where we can partner in this thing and not be so vindictive, not be hateful, and see if we can be a family and bring peace amongst each other. Okay, so let's go down to other enforcement remedies. Okay, right here. It says the state may also attempt garnishment. Garnishments is where they automatically take the money out of your pay. Okay, let's see what time it is, real quick. Okay, federal prosecution and criminal non-support in an effort to collect support. Federal prosecution and criminal non-support. You see that? The state also has the ability to revoke personal. Let me highlight that. The state also has the ability to revoke personal and professional licenses. Wow. I want to show you something on that. Let's go to Deuteronomy 24. Get that real quick. Verse 6. So what this is saying is I make my living selling insurance. I have to have an insurance license. The state can come in, take my insurance license so that I can make any money, but still gonna tell me I need to pay support. Is that not crazy? Now I'm gonna read this in the King James version, and it's not gonna make sense to you. Then I'm gonna read it in the NLT, and it explains so much better than I could. Verse 6, it's Deuteronomy 24. No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge. Now you have to understand what a millstone is. A millstone was used to it's the circular stones used for grinding grain. So this is a man who grinds grain for a living. Okay. Now watch this. I'm going to read it again in NLT. It is wrong to take a set of millstones or even just the upper millstone. So if you got two and one's on the bottom, one's on top, you don't take the set. You don't even take the upper one. All you got is the bottom left. Okay. So let's read that again. It's wrong to take a set of millstones or even just the upper millstone as security for a loan, for the owner uses it to make a living. You don't take what someone uses to make a living and use it for security for a loan. If that man has a house, I thought I had highlighted in here, but he can't even sell. They can put a lien on his house, on his vehicle. This man uses that stuff. Let me find something real quick. What I'm trying to tell y'all is, yes, you have to go by these laws in America. What I'm telling you is they are wicked. Don't be vindictive. Let me see something. Now I'm gonna help you out, man. This is a scripture I was thinking of earlier. Let me see. Oh man, it's in Matthew. If I don't find it, I'm gonna paraphrase it for y'all. Mm, Let me try something else. Let me try something else real quick, and then we're gonna talk about steps that you need to take to protect yourself and just make peace in this situation. Okay, yeah, we're gonna find it real quick. Okay, I said 5 and 20. It's Matthew 5 and 20. My bad. I was 3 verses off. All right, we're gonna read. So let's read this. Matthew chapter 5, verse 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly. That's the key right there. The lady that you're no longer with is not your adversary, okay? And you got to agree with her quickly. Let's read that again. Matthew 5 and 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, while thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. It's not necessary to go to prison over child support. This is what you should do. I'm first talk to men who are calling themselves dating. This woman gets pregnant. And if you've been listening to this series at all, I've told you if you're sleeping with a woman, you ought to make her your wife. Now, what do I mean by that? Because some camps will tell you sex is marriage. What I mean is this: take the steps where everybody knows she's your wife. Talk to her father. Let her brothers know you mean her nothing but good. And you're going to take care of her all your life. You're going to get the legal paperwork where she's taken care of, where on your job you can put her on your benefits, right? You're going to get life insurance, and she's going to be the beneficiary because if something were to happen to you, she doesn't need to go back to her dad empty-handed. When you left there with her, you said you take care of her. Okay. So if you go down to the courthouse, that legal document is recognized in all 50 states. All right. So you want to make her your wife. Now let's say she says she doesn't want to be your wife. Now you know what's coming next. So you need to prepare. So now she comes and says, "Hey, Joe, I'm pregnant." Your first step is not to say, "Is it mine?" She can't even tell you she's pregnant. You know she's saying it's yours. Open up a bank account, go out here on the internet, and look for how child support is calculated in your state. Figure out about how much child support will be and start putting that in the account every month. So when the child is born, you have 9 to 10 months worth of support put away. And why that is important is when you go and you get put on child support, they're going to go and calculate support from the day that child was born. So let's say you get on support 10 months later. You owe 10 months worth of child support. Those are called arrears. Now, what happens with arrears is they're going to put in your court order that you're going to pay this much extra every month. But because you owe those arrears, they're going to report you to the credit bureaus. All 3 credit bureaus are going to have you as being delinquent on child support. Most places won't give you a loan. Certain jobs are not gonna hire you, and when you do get a loan, you're gonna pay a higher interest rate because your credit score is gonna suffer, okay? So you want to avoid that at all costs. So that's the first thing you're trying to do. If she's not marrying you, you're going to have to be prepared for child support because, yes, you've got to pay child support. The next thing you want to do well, during the same time period, you still want to ensure her family and her that you're gonna be there and do what you need to do. Don't let her set doctor's appointments by herself. You do it with her because you have a job, you know when you can take off. "Hey, let's see can we get it on this day." Go down with her, okay? Um, then in that, sometimes we might have co-pays. Help out with that, alright? So then you're gonna be telling her dad, her brothers what you're gonna do, that you're gonna be there and all that. You're going to go down and talk to a family law attorney. You're gonna let that attorney know that you had that money set up. That goes a long way when he goes to talk to the judge, okay? The other thing you're going to do is, you're gonna let the process go forward to get those DNA tests done. That's my suggestion, you don't have to. That's part of the suggestion, you don't have to. I'm saying it would be a wise thing to do. If at the end of 9 months, 10 months, you get the DNA test done, it's not your child, you just got some money saved, okay? So you're going to get that done. You're going to be the one to initiate child support. That's why you're going to see the lawyer. I guarantee you she's already going through the process too, and she's not telling you. But what you need to do is make sure that you go initiate. You tell her you're initiating. The reason is that you're going to pay. So what you want to do is let her know that you're going to be there, and she doesn't have to always go behind your back and try to take you to court and things of that nature. There are court fees when you go to court. Develop a relationship when y'all can communicate, okay? Um, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to be a peacemaker at this point. You wanna be able to be in your child's life, so you wanna be there. You want to get her used to you being there. And who knows, y'all might patch this thing up and y'all end up getting married. Because if you're there and her parents are telling her, "That's a good young man. He's there. Most wouldn't do this, most wouldn't do that." She's gonna be listening to all that. And so you're trying to show that you're responsible and you're trying to do the right thing, okay? Um, so now you say, "Well, if you tell me child support is not biblical, God doesn't order it, and if a woman leaves, she's supposed to leave without any money, why would you turn around and tell me to pay child support?" If you remember last week, we went to Deuteronomy 28, and I showed you that because you would not serve the Lord your God with all your heart, that he was gonna turn you over to your enemy. You're now serving your enemy. And I took you to Matthew 5 and 25 this week and showed you that, this enemy will lock you up. I went through this enemy's documentation and showed you that if you, um, go out there and you get behind on child support, in 30 days, they're coming after you. They will also take any license you have, including your driver's license. Now you can't even take care of yourself. So you get out ahead of this. Now let's take a situation where you're already in this thing and you owe arrears. Any money you pay outside of the child support system is considered a gift. It does not have anything to do with your child support. So this is what you wanna do. Go talk to the young man. Say, "Look, I got these arrears. I want to get this money to you as quickly as possible. Uh, I'm not gonna be buying school clothes this year, but you're gonna get the money and you can go, but I'd like to go with y'all. I wanna be involved." So what I'm gonna do, however much you usually spend on school clothes, school supplies, you say, "This is what I usually spend. I'm gonna send this to you, and then I'm gonna go with you, we're gonna go shopping," right? So you send it to her, and you go shopping with them. You pick them up. You take them. That way you're there, your child still sees you there being involved, and that the same money you were spending is now going towards your arrears. Get those arrears paid off as soon as possible, because this is what happens. When it finally gets paid off, it stays on your credit report for 7 years. Now, at that point, if you go to purchase something, they're gonna want a letter showing that you, have paid that off, okay? So the minute you pay off your arrears, you wanna get to the child support agency, you wanna get a letter saying it's paid off, and you wanna send it to all 3 credit reports. You wanna go out and dispute. You can go right online. You can go out and dispute and say, "This has been paid," and you get that letter filed. You keep a copy of that letter, and anytime you wanna purchase something, you send that in, okay? And, so that's important. I think we're going to how much time we got? Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and quit this week, but we're gonna pick up from here next week, okay? Let me see if I can get back to my screen. Anyway, we'll get there. So anyway, I just wanna say I love y'all. Don't forget about, Tabernacle. I just wanna say shalom, for real. We're gonna stop sharing the screen. Into studio. Oh, into studio. All right, about to end this stream. Love y'all. Shalom.